Short game wise, yes, I can. Long game wise, no. No, I have not.
He's talking the long game.
They played the long game.
They gotta play the long game.
They're experienced and they played the long game.
No, you're talking the long game.
They're experienced and they played the long game.
Very nice.
Long game is back.
Case, I'm going to open the show and apologize to you. I take it back. I'll play Augusta by myself.
Oh, well, save it. Save it.
I'll take it back. I don't want Phil. I don't want Phil.
Are we
Greenhill.
recording? Have we started yet?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, you said when we start, I'll do it.
No, I hit it right away. I want to apologize. I like to apologize to you, to the fans, to the listeners out there. That course is sick. That's my take.
I gotta ask: is this your first time watching the Masters? What did it for you this time? The Starlink was it like 4K this time? What's different this time? I love that you're on board with this, but is this more of a Phil thing or a course thing?
Look, if Phil finished in the top 10, like I told you he was gonna, I think maybe that would have changed my opinion on it. But and the fact, just something about him wearing Nike Dunks just doesn't do it for me. That's a separate conversation.
I had to do a quadruple take on that.
I think I just think my golf addiction and interest in playing the game has just reached it. Like I had a place with golf that I never expected to be, and so I kind of always watched it like I always had any sporting event on, and I love golf at a new level right now, and I watched it from a different perspective. And the course was awesome. It looks so challenging. I'm also so excited already because they're talking about Pinehurst. I can't wait to see Scottie do it at Pinehurst, and I've been to Pinehurst. And so, yeah, I would love to play there, mainly because I wouldn't be a little beep like Max Homa, and I would actually hit driver on 13, which is a whole other separate topic. But it's amazing. It's amazing. I'm sorry to everybody out there, to Condoleezza Rice, to what's the guy's name? Fred Ridley.
Chairman Ridley. Please.
Chairman Ridley, to Dwight Eisenhower, to Mr. Hogan. I just want to apologize. Augusta seems like a great course, and it is now number one on my bucket list to go and play. All right.
Takes a big man to admit when he's wrong. Augusta seems like a good course, a nice course. Yeah. To touch on your Pinehurst thing for a second, what we got this weekend with the Masters is exactly what I love, and that's what golf is. It's just the carnage. And I know the players don't like that. They like making 50 birdies and looking like the best players in the world. But to me, that's the best kind of golf. And U.S. Open golf is the epitome of that usually, like as close to even par as possible. That hasn't been the case for a while. But if they didn't get that rain on Thursday, it would have been a complete disaster. I mean, Bryson went out -7 Thursday. That was good enough for solo second for the whole week. So when you get like conditions like that in a course that's you can see the players are terrified of, that makes for like the absolute best golf situation. But let me ask
what is that?
quick.
What do you mean like conditions like that? It was nice out, and so that just means it was like, well, I guess it was windy. That Saturday. What was was Saturday the big windy day?
No, well,
Friday.
Thursday
was silly.
Thursday and Friday. I think Thursday afternoon may have been the worst. Like Bryson got in early, and so much of this tournament, this is like 2 or 3 years in a row, it really matters what draw you get going off on Thursday and Friday, just what weather you get morning, afternoon. But it was, so if they hadn't got that rain on Thursday, those storms Thursday morning up until the afternoon, that course would have been like the 3 putts would have been off the charts. It was already hard and fast by the weekend, but when you get the wind like that, like especially over a hole like a shot on 12, where the story for years is you can hit like the perfect shot, the right yardage, you can think there's no wind, but just ghosts happen at that hole. Just unique about the course. like for here's the best example. I don't know what the number is, but the COVID year where Dustin Johnson won, they set the scoring record. That was the fall. That was soft. Like this was hard and fast after Thursday. So that's my kind of Masters. Without Thursday, Scottie may have won at like -4 or 5, which would have been really cool. But yeah, did you get to watch a lot this weekend?
I did. I watched Thursday. I watched Friday. I didn't watch as much on Saturday. I got a good hour, at least an hour or two in each day. The coverage though, like the fact that they don't start the coverage, like I'm watching some nonsense. I'm watching Mike Tirico and Brandel talk about these guys on the range. Like the fact that the coverage isn't on TV until 3:00. I know that there's the Masters website is fantastic, but like I don't understand why they wouldn't just like have that on TV all day.
So do you have like the Masters app? Because I
go to
did hear this complaint as well.
Well, you just can go to you just go to masters.com and they have like the featured group. They have whatever. But there wasn't just there's not just like, or maybe is there something specific on the app that I missed? Like we're like you kind of
I had 3 apps going. I had I had the website one, I had the phone app, and I had the iPad app, and I found they
Okay.
all had different things. Not complete. Like for instance, you couldn't get on like a Apple TV, the Masters app there. You couldn't get the broadcast feed on there, which you would say,
Right.
who cares? You can get that on your own thing. But like for whatever reason, the clarity seemed better through the app, so I wanted that, but I couldn't do that on the TV.
Yeah.
But you're right, it starts at 2, but I never had an issue really following anyone I wanted to follow, and I watched a lot of this even before they came on. They do a good job of like whatever the feature group is. They really mash together. I don't know, like 4 or 5 different groups. They give you extra people too. Like when Tiger, I don't know if Tiger was in the feature group every day, but you get all of his shots too.
Oh yeah, so it
Um,
wasn't just like literally covering 3 guys. They covered more people in the featured group.
No,
it
and
seemed
that's
like.
generally what it is when I watch like the ESPN, the Valspar Championship Thursday featured group. They're pretty disciplined to that, or maybe they'll go to 2 groups, but they had like also the like 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the Amen corner holes. But I found through the app you can kind of navigate it. It is crazy, like you're saying. You should be able to watch everything. It's got to be like Jim Nantz is not going on the air for 12 straight hours every day. That's got to be what it is. It's got to be a production thing, because even the Golf Channel will pop in and out of stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool. The thing where you can watch every single shot is cool. It is like everything delayed, so you're really not up to the minute
So
on
I
everything.
will, so even though I didn't watch I didn't watch start to finish every day, but what's cool about the Masters website, like I saw Max made a double on 12 and I was like,
Yeah.
how did he make a double on 12? And I saw he hit it in that bush, and then I went back to the, and then you can go and replay all the shots, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, he had it taken unplayable, and it shows you that penalty shot. That was like, that's unbelievable. And I think I was listening to Andy and Brendan on the Shotgun Start the other day. They talked about like, why don't imagine they just have that for every tournament where they're filming every shot anyway. They
So
got TrackMan on everything. Like,
I'm pretty sure, I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure this is something that Liv announced with Google before the year. I don't know if it's up and running yet, but that was their idea. They're trying to develop that for Liv, so you could watch every single player whenever you want.
damn.
But yeah, you would think that could be doable, but then just like on a random tournament on a Thursday, fire up the PGA Tour leaderboard on their website. That thing can be like an hour delayed, and I guess that's all based on volunteers. So who knows? They just got billions of dollars invested. Maybe they'll take some of these suggestions.
Yeah.
Not that the tour
I got to show you something
is
real quick.
controlling Masters.
This is, you see this? You see this grip?
Is that what Scottie had on the range?
Yeah, every practice session he takes out this club with his little molded grip, and he's out there hitting balls.
And if you're not one of our 11 YouTube viewers, what would you say that is, Dave?
If you could just Google Lambkin grip trainer. Last November when I went to Dr. Janko and I said, like, I want to get actually good at golf. He's like, well, then we got to start at the beginning and we got to fix your awful grip. And I said, okay, how do we do that? And he said, go get this, put it on an old club, and just figure out how to put your hands on the club. And the first time I ever put my hands on this grip, it felt like I can't imagine hitting a ball in the air holding the club like this. That's how bad my grip was. And so I just want to give a shout out to Scottie going back to fundamentals, getting the grip right before the final round of the Masters. You love to see that. And just also I'd like to shout out Sevi. Just
Yeah, you texted me this weekend that you thought he's one of the most overrated golfers in the history of the sport.
I mean,
right?
I've never heard of him. I've never seen him play any golf. So what you know,
I think
him
he's
and
before our
Justin
time.
Thomas, him, JT, and Spieth, the most overrated golfers of our generation.
Well, when you were just saying about like you saw Max made a double yesterday on 12, and you wanted to see it, you go to that app. That I don't think is the best use case for that. It's more of I just saw Jordan Spieth had a 9 on 15, and I want to figure out how the fuck that happened, and then you can go watch him melt down hole by hole. Yeah, not a
So-
great showing for some of these kind of pretender guys. But
Are you
I will
happy
say
with?
there was a point. Go ahead.
I was
Happy
just to
what?
say, are you happy with the outcome? How did yesterday afternoon play out for you?
Yeah, I think when they were about to hit the turn, and Scottie was like, he was Scottie, but he wasn't as sharp as he usually is. He was, bogeying some holes and having some missed par putts and stuff. So he was giving people opportunities. So right before the turn, it seemed like anything could happen, especially on Saturday too, where I think everyone was tied at -6 for a while. It was a little bit of a disappointing back nine in that it just became so inevitable, just because people were leaking so much oil and Scottie was pretty solid. But I will say, like here's the top 11: Scottie Scheffler, Ludvig, Tommy Fleetwood, Colin Morikawa, Max Homa, Cam Smith, Bryson, Xander, Zalatoris, Hatton, Cam Young. Those are 11 of the top 20 players in the world, right? There's no like Malnati on that list. There's no I don't know, Lee Hodges, Austin Eckrat. Like there was no one that snuck in. It was just the best players in the world for the most part, give or take a few. And that just shows like how hard that course is and the dispersion of, when things get really, really hard, the best players are going to rise to the top. So I thought it was awesome. The shot making was like incredible, especially Morikawa. Scottie, great too, but and Morikawa got leaky off the tee, which kind of did him in. But just some of those iron shots coming into some of those holes, those greens that are like 9 or 11. Just we were trading texts a little bit. What were you saying? You thought the scariest hole was there, or the scariest approach shot on the course?
I mean, all of them. Like, I think
That's true.
what's insane is like, okay, they talk about like they love talking about how the course is a joke because everybody hits it so far, but like, there were multiple holes where like you can hit a 315-yard drive and you're gonna have 220 in.
Yeah.
And like you have to control your spin, you have to control the trajectory. The notes that I sent myself is I wrote 11 is just a monster. The tee shot on 13 would be like you're so used to seeing like that's a par 5. Par 5s are birdie fest, but like you have that little window. It's hard to work the ball with a driver to stand up on that tee and try to, like, Scottie just hit he just hits the ball, he hits a laser right around the corner. It wasn't even like a draw, just like a straight ball right around the corner. That was nuts. And then like from where you're hitting it from, you still have to hit a ridiculous shot. The Morikawa had like a 220 shot in, like for that for you and me, a 220 shot carrying the creek to that green is just like, oh my God, I just want to hit this in the center of the face. I think
That's it.
I don't mean
Yeah.
like obviously these are the best players in the world, but I like to watch golf through the lens of like us playing the game. The approach shot on 15 is insane. Like Tiger just nuked a 3-wood from 250, and you got to carry the water and land it on this like elevator green. That's insane. And the last one is the tee shot on 1. Like first tee, I can't even imagine. Like I was thinking about this yesterday. Like how nervous was Max Homa on the first tee on 1 yesterday? He just hit an absolute bomb. I mean, I would do what Højgaard did and just like hit a snap hook left and be like, all right, and we're off now. Thank goodness I'm off this tee.
Yeah, that's what I love about this tournament. It's like you see every type of shot. Like a guy like Max or like a Morikawa, that first tee shot, obviously it's scary. It's such a tight little cut shot. But then I think of like I was paying attention to this yesterday, like Morikawa, guy who doesn't ever really, or he doesn't prefer to draw the ball ever. That tee shot on 2, where you've got to turn it over. So you go from 1 where you've got to hit this perfect cut, and then on 2 you've got to hit like a pretty good draw just to get the slope. It forces them out of their comfort zone. You think about like where we've been the last 3 months, like the Century in Hawaii and some of these courses, and the Amex course where Dunlap shot with like 24 under par. Like that's like cool stadium course golf, but this is, to me, like that. This is where you're, again, it's the dispersion thing. I guess it's kind of like showcases a little bit what they talk about with the rollback. Like when you make things harder on all these guys, the best players are going to rise to the top, which I think ultimately is good for ratings. It's good for the tour. It's good for everyone, except for Peter Malnati, I guess. I don't know.
I thought
So
the
you were
turning point.
you were go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was
gonna
gonna say you were
the
just talking you were talking about how the like you like to watch that through like the lens of like you playing it or whatever. I put a number on me if I played all 4 days in this tournament, same conditions. I came up with a number I thought like would be a target, what I would have for the 4-day total strokes. What do you, I already have it written down, so I'll give you my honest answer. But what do you think I think if I played every day of those competition rounds, same whatever they went through, Friday, rain, wind, everything? What do you think?
I mean,
4 days would be my target.
it's a minimum of 400.
400?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're north of 400. Breaking.
Where are we at?
I'm sorry. This is very important, but I thought it would go unspoken. But we're playing from the tips, everything. We're playing everything they're playing.
Yeah.
100?
Okay, sorry.
I think.
20,
Think of
40,
that.
60,
I don't
80.
know. I'm flattered.
I would say okay. So maybe I'll jack it up a little. 480 would be a target. 120 each day.
Yeah, I said 500 would be my target.
Oh, how
125
good of a YouTube series would that be? Obviously, everyone does this, but like, can I break 120?
Maybe we'll pitch the chairman on this. I'm not a member. I get pants though. I won't wear shorts. I'll show up. I'll be respectful. I'll tip the caddies. I won't steal any pine cones because I already stole one when I came there 5-6 years ago. Yeah, and it's funny because I think I mentioned last week, like I somehow have met 3 or 4 people that have played Augusta, and every one of them has said the same thing. Like it's not that hard. It's wide off the tee for like an amateur playing from the members' tees. It's, of course, the greens are crazy and there's trouble everywhere, but it's not as hard as you would think as like an amateur playing from that, but playing from the tips, and obviously the members there aren't playing like the craziest green speeds and all that stuff. But it'd be interesting. What would you put yourself at? I mean, if you had me at 100, you got to put yourself at what, like 80 a day? I mean, Tiger shot 82 yesterday.
Right. I was just
Saturday?
like Peter Malnati won 2 weeks ago on tour and shot 82 in the first round. So
Yeah.
I mean, it would have to be like breaking 100. Like I felt like way at Pinehurst. I shot 70. What I shoot? A number 2, I shot 77 from the whites.
Yeah.
And it was pretty reasonable conditions. I can't even imagine. I think that shooting in the not like low 90s there would be like a accomplishment. I don't know.
I'll have to text my buddy who played Augusta years ago through a connection. He's a 18 handicap. I wonder what he shot. I'll have to get a number just to hand. Again, that's from they're playing it up a little bit. Not a little bit. They're not playing the tips, but so I'm glad you've come around in Augusta. Maybe so you've never been. I was thinking this weekend. Do you think not you specifically, but just anyone? Do you think you'll make the trip one day? Like, is that a goal of yours, or you're like, I don't really care to be there, or did that change this weekend?
It didn't really change. Like it didn't change my wanting to go there. Although I was in line at a breakfast place yesterday in Burlington, Vermont, and a guy had a Masters hat on, and some guy was small talking to him. He's like, "Yeah, no, I actually just was there. I got back at midnight last night. I was there on Friday." And this guy's like, "I know it was a bucket." He goes, I heard him say it was a bucket list. It was a bucket list thing for me to do, and man, it was even better than I expected. And I was like, "Oh, God damn it!"
Yeah, like I was like I said, I was thinking this weekend. I think if you care at all about golf, like you almost have like a responsibility to try to get. And I know how stupid that sounds because of how hard it is to get tickets in the lottery. Less than 1% of people who apply get it. There are ways to find your way there. They're not cheap, but
Yeah, like Greg Norman, Greg Norman, the Shark Man wasn't in the lottery. He just was there. He just
and
bought
it
a ticket.
ready to go if someone needed to call him off the bench.
You got to have to cue that up. We had an inner OB. Can you wear, if you're just spectating at an event, Casey asked after the players, if you're just spectating if you're watching a golf event, if you're there, are you wearing your running shoes, something comfy, or are you wearing your golf shoes? And lo and behold, Greg Norman is there in his black pants, tucked in shirt, straw hat, and he's got his black FootJoy Premiers on.
And you sent me a photo that it was a little bit stylized. It had like a sepia tone. I thought it was from any year he was competing in the Masters. He looked like he was ready. He had the belt buckle, the hat. He was ready to play. He was ready to blow a lead on the back nine if anybody needed.
He's kind of jacked. Like he's still kind of.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
kind of. He's got some
like wiry jack
on him. Yeah. Is there a dress code as a patron?
Yeah, definitely.
There is.
Yeah. I mean, you can't show up. Yeah, there's a code for everything there. I can tell you.
Can you wear like a t-shirt? Can you just wear a t-shirt and shorts?
Actually, funny you say this. A friend of mine, you actually know, when we went, my dad had won the lottery in a practice for a practice round. We went a few years ago. He had 4 tickets. He brought my uncle, me, and yeah, I get denied every year. He does it the first year and gets it. So we had 3 or 4 people. I mean, we had 3 people going and 4 tickets. Someone had bailed, and then a friend of mine was working. He would just happen to be like an hour and a half away working on business that week. And I was like, man, I got a ticket if you can make it. So he convinced his boss to let him go. But he realized on the way over, like he came from like a meeting. So he had like a button down shirt on. So he took that off again, practice round. But all he had on was, he had shorts, but he had just a V-neck like undershirt, almost like see-through. And I was like, you are the worst dressed person I've ever seen at this course. I have some funny pictures of him, like the marshals looking at him. So maybe you can wear it. I mean, you can wear a t-shirt, yeah, but you can't wear jeans. You can't wear probably anything Malbon related, I would think at this point. You want to do that, right? You want to do that real quick?
They love that. They love that. Oh, did you hear? They made him take off the sweater? And I've seen the clips. You don't get it. You don't get it. All the comments are like, yeah, the guys criticizing this are the ones who wear the tucked in polo shirt and the joggers. You don't get it. I don't need to get it. It's not for me.
Can you help me with, I mean, you're the expert in this, and you sent me a clip from someone who was dissecting the brand value of what happened this weekend. That always sounds good, but like, and maybe I'm just not thinking of one, but like, tell me the last time someone had a flop like that and it worked out. Like, yeah, we're talking about it. We're talking about them, but like,
right.
what's the success story of that? It's like, well, Amazon, remember they did that thing back in the, like, what's the, I'm sure there are some, but
I used to have this creative director on my team at my last company, and he never liked any like the gimmicks, like the marketing gimmicks and stuff. And he would always say to me, like, just because it works doesn't mean you should do it. It's like, okay, all right, cool. So I just feel like that is going to work for them because the brand angle is like the challenger, like it's a challenger brand. It's bringing streetwear to golf. Like it's perfect. It's for, you don't get it. You don't get it. We're challenging the norms. Like, anyway, I don't get it. I love the vest was amazing. I just loved the whole story. I would have loved to know like how that went down. Like Jason, can you come over here for a second?
I think he told the story. I think they took him aside and told him. So, yeah. I think it's come out since that. He has said that yes, they asked me to remove it, and he said something like, here it's the focus here should be on golf. So I was happy to oblige. Like, you didn't think about that before you put on a cigarette carton of
let me ask you a question. As a Masters aficionado,
yes,
forget the Malbon jokes that we make and whatever, and we don't get it. Well, obviously we don't get it. I'm a dad and a Patagonia zip up. Like, what do I know? My pants have a zipper on the side right now. You can't see it on this podcast, but they do.
We'll take your word.
do you care about, like, are you like, yeah, that is how it should be at Augusta, or like, does that matter to you or not? Like, do you like that about Augusta, or no, or does it not register, or does it matter?
Um, yeah, I don't know if I care. I think I care. I think I care. I'm trying to think of, for this specific example, I think I just didn't like it because of what we were just talking about. It's like, you're doing it just to get a reaction. This isn't like a fashion statement. It's a shock value thing. So like stuff like that, like I would rather like whether it's clothing, whether it's some guys playing like a neon green ball for the first time, or pink, or like whatever it is, if it's just for shock value, like that's not the place to do it.
Is it for shock value, or is it just a we don't understand drip, and like that actually wasn't shock value?
That's
That
my
was like,
question.
no, that's dope.
Have you ever seen anything more universally panned? Like nobody got it, right? So that, like, who's asking for that? Who's getting it? Or are they going for people who would buy anything that like a golf traditionalist would say, you can't make those pants? So then someone's like, well, then I want them. I don't know, but I mean, fashion at the Masters doesn't really
Hey,
move the
you know
needle
what?
for me.
They'll cut to this 10 years from now, when this company and this golfer has changed the game. You know,
The long game presented by Malbon.
Yeah, nobody liked when Allen Iverson came in the NBA and started dressing the way he does. So, you know, what do we know, Case? What do we
But
know?
that's it. So this is all part of this thing. I'm still trying to mentally figure out with this. I guess their idea is Melbourne's bringing 90 back, maybe. Or like some kind of 90 streetwear. Like when you look back at those hilarious, I think there's a picture from the 2000 whatever draft LeBron was in. Have you ever seen this photo where they're all wearing suits and the suit pants are as wide as like your waist pants would be now? But like that was kind of, I'm not saying that was the style, but like baggy was the style then. This is just like this is so far the opposite of what the style is now. Like all these joggers, like it went almost too far that way. It's hard not to say that isn't for shock value, because there's nobody really who's dressing like that. Maybe we're just in the wrong part of the country for this conversation, but also I got to tell you, the amount of people who aren't like really crazy big golf fans, the amount of texts I got this weekend, like, you guys got to cover like Malbon on the pod this week. It was just a very clear, like, oh, thanks for listening. We cover that literally I think this is mostly a Malbon pod. So come on.
I don't know. Not like, we're not one of those guys on Instagram that breaks down the whole brand strategy and, you know, knows who manufactured this and that. So anyway, why don't you take me into some of your inner OB for Masters?
Yeah,
inner OB.
I had some inner OBs, a Masters related list of these.
I'll put a bow in this and say it was great to watch when Morikawa left his third shot in the bunker on, I don't even know what hole is it. Maybe that was 8. He made it double.
9 was his. Yeah, 8 or 9. Yeah.
When he left it in the bunker, I was like, oh man, this is over. Scottie's gonna wrap this one up. And then I will say I can't get enough of Ludvig, and that's my guy.
That was going to be my last thing too, just to put a bow on the Masters. Like, if you had to, I guess we could have this conversation with or without Scottie Scheffler. But if I said to you, you had to bet like your life on naming one person that's going to win the Masters at least one time in the next 10 years, he would be the number one pick, right? I mean, I get removing Scottie, like, again, moving forward. Who would have better odds? That guy is going
right now, best odds to win the Masters.
So you had to make a bet right now, the next 10 Masters, the next decade of Masters. You have to pick one person you're going to guarantee for your life will win at least one Masters in the next 10 years. I think he would be, if you were removing Scottie, I think he'd be the number one pick. Like, who else has
that hasn't won yet?
No, anyone.
Yeah,
I would say anyone. This kid is like, he graduated college less than a year ago, and in that time frame won 4 tournaments, was a rookie on the Ryder Cup, a contributing rookie on the Ryder Cup that won, and he finished solo second at his first, not just Masters, his first major. Like, he's going to be the best player in the world in 2 years. I feel like I've never been so certain about anything in my life, like sport or golf wise. Like, I think he's the guy. I think we're going to look
Yeah.
back in 5 years and be like, wow, it was Scottie, and then it was Ludvig, and there was everyone else was kind of
Yeah,
fighting.
I think he's the guy. His swing is his swing is ridiculous. He looks like a robot, and so
That's the
if
thing. It's like, you've ever seen that guy look nervous? Did you? The only time I've ever seen him react, did you see yesterday? He was walking maybe from 9 to 10,
when
and
the
he
guy
was
knocked out
giving
the
high
power,
fives.
yeah,
I think I knocked
protein
this.
bar.
Yeah, and he kind of like smiled. Like, that was the only personality I think I've ever seen from him. And that's like kind of what Scottie is, very even keeled, no highs and lows. All right, some Masters related in a row Bs. I think I already know the answer to this one. I'll get it out of the way. If you're leading on the back nine, you get the text your wife's in labor, first kid. You're leaving.
Yeah.
Or is there an unspoken thing your wife's like, I'm not going to text them? That won't get you in trouble. You want to move on?
Yeah, no. The answer is obviously I'm out. If it's like me and like let's say like I just go in an absolute heater in 2 years, and I just get so good at golf, and all of a sudden I'm in the Masters, like yeah, then I'm gonna stay. But if I'm Scottie Scheffler and Scottie's like, look, I'm really good. I'm gonna be playing this tournament a lot. This is my first kid. I'm out.
Yeah, just hard to put yourself in.
Also,
in
you
those
know what?
shoes.
I hate Instagram. Scottie gave this. I thought it was a great press conference after. He's got the green jacket on. He's like, I just want to go home right now. And all the bullies in the Instagram comments were like, see, this is why he'll never be Tiger. You're right. He's never going to be Tiger. He's not going to sleep with 20 women. He's not going to be a degenerate scumbag. He's a nice, normal guy who wants to have a nice family, a nice life, and he doesn't care about any of that. And I've been there. I'm not Scottie Scheffler. I've never played in a professional golf tournament, but I've driven 2.5 hours away. I never won a golf tournament, but I've driven 2.5 hours away and been like, you know what? I just want to be home right now. I've been on a work trip and I'm like, that was a great work trip. We just closed a big deal, but I just want to be home. And I appreciate so much that he said that. And I hate the way people react to that type of shit on Instagram. I can totally relate to that. He can be happy as heck that he won the Masters and want to be home. Both things can be true.
And that's such a thing that a dad without kids yet would say. Like, I just want to be home. Then we'll show the juxtaposition of the Cam Young interview a few weeks ago where he's like, he blew the lead. And they're like, how you feeling? He's like, well, I got a 4-hour ride home with 2 toddlers. So that's really where my brain's at right now. So maybe in a few years, got to be like, I'm going to stick here. I'm going to play Monday. I'm going to stick around through the weekend. What was I going to say? Oh, one last thing on just Scottie and the Masters. I was thinking of. Were you rooting for him down the back nine yesterday? Or are you like, no, I want to see him pump a few in the woods or in the water and open this back up to more people to come back in and win?
It was this weird mix of like I wasn't rooting for him, but I wasn't not rooting for him. I wasn't.
You're kind of.
It was pretty.
Like, you didn't want him to lose, but you wanted to see it more exciting. So you wanted to, like, if people weren't going to start eagling holes to get up to him, so he needed to come back to the field, kind of that.
Yeah,
I was thinking,
like I didn't want to see him make a mistake. I do think it was pretty sweet. Like he hit that ridiculous shot at 14 where it spun back. I couldn't believe that didn't go in. I thought for sure that was going to go in.
I could not believe it. Yeah.
And then like he stuffed another one on 16 and just made a birdie there. So it's more just like I'm never so into a guy. I'm more just like rooting for the TV and something interesting to happen.
Well, that may tip off my the answer here, but the reason I asked that, I was thinking like I never remember having that with Tiger, with all the inevitability of him in big moments and when he had leads coming down the stretch. I never remember being like, I hope he gives a few
Chunks
back
one.
here so Ernie Els can get back in this thing. Like I don't know what that says, but it says something, like, because you're getting the comparisons now that there's no one that's been, he's not to the level of Tiger, but there's no one that's had a stretch of dominance like Scheffler has for the past 2.5 years since Tiger, like 05, 06, 07. Again, not like he doesn't have all 4 majors at once, but that's as close as you're going to get comparing someone to the GOAT. But I feel like the majority of people are always just still wanted to see Tiger do it again, no matter how many times he did it. And it's just interesting.
I think he
feel
just
that
is
with
not. I think
Scottie.
Tiger just like, celebrity character, who he was, his whole brand, his identity, like all of that was at such a bigger level. And I think we're just still not there yet. I think like if Scottie it becomes that dude and just wins like a boatload of more majors, I think it becomes possible. But even watching him now, even knowing how good he is, like I know this isn't true, but it's how I feel. I just still feel like he could just go hammer one like way left in the woods on 17, and you're like, whoa! All of a sudden, like Tiger just felt like superhuman. Um,
Yeah.
What's your over under on Scottie and majors at this point?
So
Do you have any thought on that?
he has 2.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that till right now. For some reason, I had assumed he had more than that. Was like he had more
And
than
by the
just
way, it's April
Masters.
2024. His first PGA Tour win was in February of 2022.
Yeah, it's been just over 2 years. It's insane, and that's my thing. It's like the more Tiger won, the more people wanted him to win. I don't know if the more Scottie keeps winning, the more people are going to want him to win. But I mean, what is Brooks at? 5?
Brooks has 5, which is one more than Rory, who's
I mean, I feel like right now you'd have to put his over under at like 8.5, 7.5.
Yeah, I think
which
it's
is crazy.
insane.
That would put him in the top. I don't know what 5 all time.
He's got to win 5 more.
But think about Tiger. This is great. We set up Inter OV and then we did a 20-minute detour. But this is, I think, is an important point. Like Tiger, I mean, Scottie, Tiger. Who is Tiger beating when he won all these? I don't want to take anything away from Tiger, but think of like the competition Scottie has and how impressive that is. Did Tiger have a Rahm, Ludvig, Morikawa, Koepka? Just think of like that list of Fleetwood. Like it's hard to compare because you look at these guys and you see like Tom Kite and Coke bottle glasses, and you're like, that guy could never.
Yeah, but Case, they played with the rollback ball.
I know. It's hard to imagine. Like I say this all the time, but it's the greatest sport. It's a sport where the best player of all time inspired a generation of golfers to come up, and then he stuck around so long that he had to compete against those people. Like there's no sport where that really happens. So it's an interesting thing. What would you put it at? What did I say? 7.5, 8.5?
Yeah, I like. My mind went to 7. I mean,
I think he'll win the Masters like 3 or 4 times. He's got the game for that course. You could tell. Like he's not a double bogey guy. He'll give away a bogey every now and then, but he's not. And where he makes the differences are those holes like 14 or 11, where he can get close to holes that just nobody else can.
Also crazy. Side note, just crazy how much he chips in or something. Like it just
I know,
seems like
especially
always.
the Masters on Sunday.
Yeah. On the first, was in the first hole yesterday. He chipped. This is insane.
Yeah, the year he won 2 years ago, he chipped in on the 3rd hole. I want to say the par 3 that he was in trouble on too, and that kind of flipped the script that day. All right, I'll go through some of these Inter OBs real quick. Masters related. Inter OB, rate the line. Nantz is known for this every year. When the last putt goes in, what has he been writing for 3 months? Yesterday's was his stardom confirmed. Not one of my favorite ones. I mean, if we're opening up to all of them, nothing will ever beat Glorious and Free in Canada. But Masters wise, like the Mickelson one, like is it his time? Yes.
Sorry, can you say that again? What was it?
What Glorious and Free? Nantz yesterday with Scheffler. Yeah. His stardom confirmed. It's like could have. It's not the best one he's ever had.
Yeah, I don't
like Tigers in 2019 was the return to glory, right? He writes these little phrases. I don't know. It wasn't a good one. Are you in or out on his stardom confirmed? I would have done something with the baby. I don't know. Who knows? He probably didn't want to touch that.
You would have done something with the baby,
like Daddy's coming home or something like that. I didn't have enough time to think about this, but Something like that would have
Meredith, let's
been
have a
better.
child. Yeah, there's something.
It's better than the
Yeah.
year on 18 where Patrick Reed won and like Faldo was like he's probably just going through the PGA Tour notes, like the fun facts about people. And it was like his or was this Nance? He was like his favorite song is something such whatever by Imagine Dragons, and he was just reading Imagine Dragons lyrics as he's coming up 18. Like some producer's got to be like, guys, we gotta get out of this right now.
I love that exercise though. Like Jim's like, all right, he's on 15. He's gonna win this. Like, I got to write my bars down right here.
Yeah, so he probably had 2 hours to write that, right? Or literally, or realistically, probably had 2 days to write it, knowing where Scottie was and again how inevitable that was going to be. But I got to go back. Maybe for next week, I'll go back and find all of them, or the last like 20, and see. We can rank some of them. All right. Are you in or out on? I'm sure you saw this. You're talking about watching a lot of the
Sorry,
live
there was
from
one.
stuff.
It might have been when
Go ahead.
Hovland won like the tour championship or something like that. He just has the most ridiculous, like, from Ohio. I don't even know.
Yeah,
what it
right.
was.
Like it,
I'm like, wait,
in my
what?
head, I'm like, you don't need one of these for everyone. But then the other side of my head's like, oh no, you need one of these every week, every single week. That glorious and free is. I don't know if I'll ever get past that
All right,
one.
what else you got?
You were talking about having to watch like live from when you wanted to watch early morning coverage or late morning coverage.
Yeah.
So I got caught watching a little bit of this, and I was thinking, what is this for? Are you in or out on the Golf Channel's shot tracer on the practice range?
Oh, I love it. I'm so in.
Oh, okay,
So
I'm with
in.
you on like these long irons and these drivers. They're
No.
showing Xander
No.
Schauffele hitting 35-yard like chips yesterday, and it's got like spin and it's got like curve 0. It's like, well, yeah, it was a 30.
How are you not into that? I think it's fantastic.
Well, how are you complaining about not being able to watch the tournament when that's all that was on all morning?
Hold on. I didn't
You
say
just
I
watch that
didn't.
all day.
I didn't say I didn't enjoy it. I just said
No,
like I
okay.
wanted to like go back and forth. But I flip
Run the
over.
option.
I'm watching Morikawa hit these little like nippy little chip shots just short of the bunker. They had the whole map, just like they do on TrackMan. When if you hit balls for a long time, they show all the little dots about where he's hitting it. I'm watching Bryson. They talk about it's into the breeze on the range today, and I'm looking at Bryson's ball speed, all that. I'm in. Otherwise, it's just you don't know what's going on. You got no context out there. So
Yeah.
I think it's great.
You know what I think the problem is for me? I'm not at the skill level yet where, and I'm not on the TrackMan enough where these numbers make a ton of sense to me. I know ball speed, all that kind of stuff, spin rate, like, you get into like rotation and that kind of stuff. I don't know.
No, I could watch that forever. I could watch looking at the ball speed and launch and as somebody's trying to launch it higher, I'm watching Bryson. Bryson was hitting was hitting 3 woods that were launching at 11 degrees, and it was like had like no spin and it was going 175 miles an hour. Like, give me that all day. And meanwhile on CBS they're like the 63rd anniversary of Sevy's comeback win. Get out of here.
Yeah, I guess it's like, his and hers. It's something for everything. There's the golf sicko
and look,
stuff going on in the Golf Channel.
They go. I will say, I was working out in my basement watching. This is the saddest scene. Working out in my basement watching live from, and they go deep. Brandel's talking about. The one thing about his swing is he's one of the guys who gets the right elbow in front of his body. And Faxon is like, yeah, the problem with that, the angle is 23. Like, they go deep. Those guys. That's who that's for.
So I guess maybe my issue is I don't have the launching. Like I know what that means, but I think the missing piece for me without this background of reps and knowing that, I don't have the context, and that's where like I've noticed this a lot. I don't watch a lot of baseball, but you played a lot of baseball in your life. I've noticed this a lot recently. I took a decade off from baseball, and I'll just be flipping through and I'll see they all talk about like exit velocity now, right? And I'm like, all right, I understand what that means, but I don't know. Like, they're like, wow, that was, I'm not even going to say a number, whatever. Like, the guy will be impressed with it. And they're like, I don't know what's like, I don't have that background of it. So like, and also, you know what a sweeper is? I was watching baseball the other day. They were throwing curveballs and it just said like sweeper, 87 miles an hour. The hell's a sweeper? They invent a new pitch?
It's a type of curveball. I don't know.
Anyway, all right, that's good to know. Maybe they'll have that back next year for you, the shot tracer. How about that shot tracer on a practice tee at your course? We had someone write in a few weeks ago about having the camera on and the feed in the locker room from the first tee box. How about on the practice range? Like Tim's really sculling it today. All right.
Why? Like Jeff's been on the range for 4 hours just hammering driver.
Yeah, totally. All right. I already asked you about me breaking 500. All right. This one I've thought a little bit about, and it comes off of what we talked about last week or a few weeks ago. Are you in or out on knowing what the Masters champion locker room looks like? Let me just say, I'm out. And remember, we talked about the Tom Kim.
Tom Kim knows.
But also CBS, like they're coming back from commercial break yesterday, and they have it's like a drone footage flying throughout the locker room and the green jacket and stuff. Like, I shouldn't know. There should be 100 people ever that know what that room looks like. I'm not talking about every sport like champions locker room, but it should be exclusive. Like Tom Kim shouldn't be able to stumble his way in there. But I don't know. That course is so cool. The whole tournament's so cool. That should be like even the player, like I don't know, like Xander Schauffele shouldn't know what that looks like. Only if he wins it should he be able to go in there. That's something it stuck out to me. Like, if this is such an exclusive place, why are they filming, flying a drone through there? So to answer your question on fashion at the Masters, if that bothers me, maybe
did they fly a drone?
Maybe I
through
am a
there?
little stuck up
Did
about
they
this.
really? They flew a drone through the
Yeah, it was like B-roll coming back from commercial. It's like, come on, this is supposed to be like a sacred place, and we get Tom Kim like just and a Netflix crew stumbling their way into there.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that's like protected, like I don't know, like Fort Knox or something.
That's what you love about the Masters. It's the mystique, right? It's
totally. So don't show me what that looks like. Like the whole thing is like you can't get to this tournament. You can't get access anywhere. That's the way I like it. Like,
is that VJ Singh getting out of the shower? I'm gonna give. I'm just the in or OB, but there's no option for in. The worst thing in the world is the Butler cabin scene. Like, it's just, it's so.
Yeah,
awkward.
I mean, if you're not a fan of awkward moments, I guess if you kind of live for stuff like that.
The lighting is like the lighting in there. Like, these guys have just been like baking out in the sun and the wind. And you got to go and put that jacket on and sit there like that. I'm out on that segment. I don't know why that needs to happen. It's too much for me. It's
that is
uncomfortable.
I think that's way more for His Excellency, the chairman. It's kind of his moment in the sun, right? Is he gets to ask the amateur a question every year, because they do that whole thing outside. They do it twice, So
what do you mean?
I forget which one they do first. So after they do that Butler cabin thing, they go outside and they do that whole ceremony outside the clubhouse with like 1,000 people. That's what we'll see, like the outdoor picture of over the years of Tiger putting the jacket on Dustin Johnson or whatever. You have the Butler cabin. That's like the TV one. I think they even maybe they televised it on the Golf Channel because I watched it yesterday. But like Scottie spoke, they do it out right behind the 18th green. So you're right. Like, it is completely unnecessary because they do it twice. Like, there's two different things within 10 minutes of Rahm putting the jacket on Scheffler yesterday. So I'm kind of with you, but I think it's like that place. It's everything. It's tradition. And you get great awkward moments. Like you saw the kid yesterday, what's his name? Neil Shipley, the sketchy eyes. By the way, did you see the thing about Tiger handing him something?
No.
I get to send this to you. So this kid Shipley gets he was the U.S. amateur runner-up last year. He lost.
Yeah, he looks like the kid that got no disrespect to Neil Shipley. Sorry to judge anybody by their looks. Like, look at me. But he looks like the guy who got kicked off of the college lacrosse team for doing some bad things.
Yeah, he kind of looks like Spalding from Caddyshack. So I don't have the transcript in front of me, and I don't know any of the background. I just know this context of this clip. But some reporter was like on X hole, because he played with Tiger yesterday. They were like on whatever hole, XYZ. Looked like Tiger wrote something on a piece of paper, I walked over and handed it to you, and you put it in your pocket. And he was like, we're just wondering what that was. And the kid's face goes white, and he's like, that didn't happen. That never happened. And the guy was like, oh, I thought I saw it. And he's like, it never happened. And the kid just looks scared. Like, that was the whole clip. I have no idea what that was. The reporter clearly saw Tiger write something and hand it to him, And this kid wasn't like, oh no, he could have like passed it off as like whatever, or like I'd like to keep that between Tiger. He was like, that never, what you're saying never happened. It was like,
So do you think
now?
do you think it
now
wasn't a
something
good
happened.
thing? Do you think it wasn't a good thing?
I don't
Like
know.
if it was, he'd be like, I just prefer to keep that between me and Eldrick.
If it wasn't a good thing, what a psycho move by Tiger, handing the kid like some like, don't ever walk in my line again or something like that. I can't imagine that happening. But
Cut your hair.
what a tournament! What a tournament! You get like VJ Singh making the cut, right? You get this kid. It's a tradition unlike any other, Dave. And if you
Sure
want to
is.
get out in here, I'll give you one more tradition. Like
Let's end on a
any
high
other.
note.
I don't know if that's gonna fulfill that, but I did my annual tradition this year of betting on Rory to complete the Grand Slam, and Rory obliged with his annual. I don't know, stinker, I guess I'd say. He just wants it too much. He's not going to win that until he doesn't care about it anymore. Like I think I told you, he'll win it in like, I don't know, 7-8 years when everyone counts him out. So, Rory, keep doing your thing. Keep grinding away. They're back at it next week. It's a designated event this year. This is the first time they ever had like a must-play event the week after the Masters. Like Scottie's got to fly to Hilton Head this week. So all the best golfers will be back. So Rory, good luck this week. And Rory, come on the pod.
So Tiger won when he was 44. Rory is 34 right now. So he's got a decade to win the Masters.
Yeah, he sure does. Do you want to close it again? Rory, come on the pod.
I just am thinking about it, man. It's tough. Your boy's got a tough going. Yeah. Anyway, shout out to all the guys heading out to the RBC this week. It's got to be tough to get. I guess the money makes it easier. You can go win some money this week. It's got to be a little bit of a letdown, but
no cut makes it easier to get on the PJ over to Hilton Head.
No
Short
doubt.
flight from Augusta when you know you're getting something.
Yeah, hit some balls, have some lunch. So
this is the week Nick Dunlap's been looking forward to for 3 months. See, we got to get back to one of these no cut things because I kind of wish I was still in college right now.
No doubt. All right, thanks for listening. We're out of here.
See ya. Rory, come on the pod.
He's talking the long game.
They played the long game.
They gotta play the long game.
Their experience and they played the long game.